The F-15 Eagle II had no such limits at all. It could carry the heaviest bunker-busting bombs in the entire U.S. arsenal, punch through defenses using electronic jamming, and crush everything beneath it in one decisive strike. By 2300 hours, the decision was locked in. The F-15 was selected. This mission was never about hiding or staying quiet. It was about sending a clear, unmistakable message. The F-15 strike would come in loud and undeniable, tearing into the target with overwhelming force and leaving massive craters behind, making sure the cartel had absolutely no doubt about American resolve. In this case, victory required being seen. On top of that, the F-15's massive fuel capacity made it the only aircraft capable of flying hundreds of miles deep, hitting multiple hardened structures, and still returning safely. Type F-15 in the comments if you agree with the choice, and smash that like if you believe in America's air dominance. The decision to launch the F-15 was made, but finding the billion-dollar target was only half the battle. The jungle fortress had been built with one main purpose: never be seen. But American intelligence was determined to drag it into the light. Before dawn, a U-2 spy plane climbed to its operating altitude of 70,000 feet. From that height, its sensors could look across borders without ever crossing them, reading license plates, intercepting cell signals, and detecting even the faintest electronic pulse. The cartel's fortress, untouched for 3 years, was about to lose its invisibility. For hours, aerial imagery showed nothing but endless green jungle, thick and silent, until analysts noticed something subtle but impossible to ignore: a faint glow beneath the canopy. It was the industrial heat signature of chemical processing equipment, the unmistakable sign of fentanyl production, lighting up satellite screens in burning red. The cartel had hidden almost everything, but they failed to hide heat bleeding into the night sky. That single thermal trace triggered a wave of covert operations. Special operations soldiers, disguised as harmless hikers, moved along remote ridgelines, planting chemical sensors that picked up the sick, chemical odors drifting through the air. Hidden microphones captured the steady hum of generators, confirming industrial-scale production. Slowly and carefully, the fortress gave itself away. Supply trucks stopped miles out, transferring cargo to pack animals to avoid roads. Armed patrols followed the same predictable rotations. Motion sensors and infrared cameras guarded every approach. Over 6 months of relentless surveillance mapped every guard tower, every bunker, every production lab. NSA systems cracked encrypted cartel communications in hours, intercepting calls that detailed schedules, movements, and shipments. Analysts built blueprints so precise that pilots could recognize individual buildings from memory. Intelligence was no longer the problem. Action was. The question burning through Washington was simple and dangerous. Would the White House authorize a strike this deep inside sovereign foreign territory? Would the administration risk an international firestorm and possible violations of international law to eliminate what was now seen as an existential threat? Inside the Oval Office, President Trump sat behind the resolute desk, satellite photos spread out in front of him. The Attorney General warned of serious legal consequences. President Trump looked at his advisors, dismissed the warnings, and spoke with cold certainty. They are building chemical weapons right on our border and poisoning our children. I am done with loose diplomatic rules. They will learn what happens when they challenge the United States of America. With that statement, the debate ended. With one signature, the cartels were reclassified. They were no longer just criminal organizations. They were officially labeled foreign terrorist groups, a decision that unlocked the full weight of American military power. The rules of engagement had changed permanently. Still, Mexico remained the unavoidable obstacle. Publicly, the Mexican president condemned any U.S. strike as a violation of sovereignty. Privately, a different reality emerged. Intelligence cooperation quietly expanded, with satellite feeds shared behind closed doors. Mexico's security leadership understood how dangerous this lab truly was. Washington increased pressure even further, backing it with the threat of crippling tariffs, 25% on hundreds of billions of dollars in trade. If Mexico failed to act, the economic clock was ticking. Mexico responded with a shocking political move. In a single night, 29 high-level cartel leaders were placed on planes and extradited to the United States. Among them was Rafael Caro Quintero, a name that had haunted the DEA since 1985. Extraditions that once took years now happened in hours. Mexico bought time, but not immunity. By nightfall, Washington's path was irreversible. An encrypted message flashed across Pentagon systems. Operation Iron Shadow authorized. Show respect for America's precision. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you stand behind this plan, because what happened next was intense. The briefing room had no windows at all, only a rotating holographic map that folded the Sinaloa ridges into a tight web of valleys, choke points, and blind spots. Spread across the heavy mahogany table were maps showing the cartel's jungle fortress no longer as a mystery, but as something completely exposed. 6 months of intelligence had stripped away every shadow, marking every heat source, concrete wall, generator bay, and access route. Colonel Martinez stood over the display, quietly tracing a path that would never be spoken outside those walls. 12 F-15E Strike Eagles were assigned to the mission, each one a flying fortress, loaded with 2 GBU-39 small-diameter bombs and equipped with advanced electronic jamming pods. The choice of weapons was very deliberate, small enough to be precise, but powerful enough to collapse reinforced bunkers and snap the backbone of the entire compound. The jets would hit in coordinated waves, staggered just enough to strike different nodes within seconds of each other, creating simultaneous impacts that would leave no time for any organized response. As final contingencies were reviewed, the tension thickened. What if Mexican radar detected the formation? What if the weather suddenly changed? Abort procedures were clear and strict. Pilots would return with weapons still on board rather than risk civilian casualties. There would be no second chances. At midnight, the final mission briefing began. Weather conditions were favorable. Thermal signatures confirmed full operations inside the cartel facility, and guard rotations were still following predictable patterns. This was the window everyone had waited for. At 0300 hours, ground crews loaded the small-diameter bombs, fueled the aircraft to maximum capacity, and sealed every hatch. Each aviator signed classified documents acknowledging the unprecedented risks ahead. Phones went dark. Communications locked down. Secrecy became absolute. By 3:30, engines roared to life. One by one, the 12 F-15E Strike Eagles rolled onto the runway and tore into the cold night sky. The mission had begun. The first jet lifted off, then another, then 10 more. Their afterburners leaving faint silver trails across the horizon before disappearing into cloud cover. They climbed high, then dropped low, skimming along mountain ridges near the Mexican border, guided by terrain-following radar that hugged every contour of the land. At 0340 hours, the formation crossed the invisible line between nations. Mexican radar screens flickered once, then went dark as the F-15s electronic warfare systems flooded local frequencies with ghost signatures, creating the illusion of dozens of aircraft scattered across the region. On the ground, nothing seemed unusual. The jungle remained still and quiet, unaware that destruction was only minutes away. Inside the lead jet, the targeting pod locked onto glowing white shapes beneath the thick canopy. Thermal displays revealed the beating heart of the fortress, generator bays, chemical vats, and the main production bunker. The pilot's voice broke the long silence. Target confirmed. GPS locked. T-3 minutes. Below, the jungle fortress glowed ominously on screens. Generators hummed. Guards walked their routes. Chemical vats simmered, completely unaware of the steel falling toward them. T-2 minutes. Targeting systems confirmed. GPS lock solid. Coordinates matched perfectly. Every bomb was armed. T-1 minute. The command came through the closed loop, calm and final. Execute. 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 24 GBU, 39 bombs dropped silently from their pylons, slicing through the darkness at terminal speed. No sirens, no alarms, just steel falling through the night. At 4 hours, 5 minutes, and 16 seconds, the first detonation erupted. Chemical storage tanks exploded into massive orange fireballs, lighting up the jungle like artificial daylight. The heart of the lab ignited instantly. Underground bunkers collapsed inward as penetrating munitions did their work. Seconds later, the second wave struck. 6 precision hits slammed into reinforced concrete. The sky became a mirror of fire. Fuel lines ruptured. Tanks ignited. A pillar of flame shot nearly 300 feet into the air. Generators exploded one by one in a violent chain reaction. Barracks and watchtowers folded inward like paper. Subterranean bunkers collapsed, sealing everything inside. 5 seconds. That was all it took for decades of cartel investment, infrastructure, and deadly capability to vanish into smoke and rubble. In the distance, cartel radio channels erupted with panic. Survivors screamed through encrypted lines. They know where we are. Convoys scattered. Safe houses emptied. The myth of invincibility was shattered in a single surgical strike. Mexican radar finally detected the formation, but only after the explosions had already begun. It was far too late. By then, Operation Iron Shadow had already changed everything. The F-15s were already climbing fast back toward American airspace, their engines roaring as the jungle below continued to burn, a deep scar carved forever into cartel history. As the jets pulled away, the war room filled with heavy silence and tension. Everyone waited, wondering what Mexico would do next, and what the world would say once daylight exposed the ashes of a billion-dollar drug empire. At exactly 5 a.m., Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum received the call no leader ever wants. Intelligence officials confirmed what radar operators already suspected. American jets had crossed the border and left behind smoking craters where a cartel empire once stood. The strikes were precise and controlled, but the political impact was massive. In Mexico City, the government erupted. Emergency meetings were called. The president vowed to defend national sovereignty. The foreign minister summoned the U.S. ambassador within the hour, demanding answers. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, and one question echoed everywhere. Was this an act of war? Washington stayed silent. The Pentagon declined to comment. But behind closed doors, the reality looked very different. Military planners reviewed live satellite imagery and quietly acknowledged a deep sense of relief. One of the largest fentanyl labs in the hemisphere was gone, erased by American precision. The public outrage was political theater. The private reaction was often gratitude. Inside cartel communication channels, chaos exploded. Encrypted radios crackled with panic. Survivors screamed coordinates that no longer existed. Convoys scattered in every direction. Commanders abandoned safe houses. Shipments were ordered destroyed before they could be traced. Leadership disappeared overnight, some fleeing toward the coast, others vanishing deep into the jungle. For the first time in years, the cartel network went dark. For decades, cartels believed geography was their shield: dense jungle, remote valleys, fortified compounds. That illusion burned away in less than 10 seconds of American firepower. The global reaction followed quickly. International observers called the strike historic, the first time a U.S. frontline fighter jet had been used directly against a cartel target on foreign soil. Allies across Europe and Asia studied the operation closely, noting how surveillance, electronic warfare, and precision bombing were fused into one seamless strike. Military analysts described it as a textbook example of deterrence and overwhelming superiority. But the psychological impact may have mattered even more than the physical damage. Cartel leaders, long used to fighting police forces and rival gangs, suddenly realized they were facing an enemy with satellite vision, electronic dominance, and the ability to erase fortified compounds in seconds. The message was unmistakable. Cross the line, and American air power will fall. As smoke drifted across the mountains, one truth became clear on both sides of the border. The era of cartel invincibility was over. Comment justice if you support the mission, or overreach if you think it went too far. And don't forget to subscribe. The destructive power of the F-15 had completely shifted the balance. Just seconds of concentrated fire achieved what years of traditional law enforcement could not. The lesson written into the burning earth was clear and undeniable. The war against cartel empires has entered a new era. The cartels believed remoteness, jungle cover, and reinforced concrete would protect them. They were wrong. The United States proved that when advanced surveillance, electronic warfare, and precision firepower are combined, there is nowhere left to hide. This strike was not only a physical victory, but a deep psychological one, planting fear where confidence once lived. It was a cold warning to anyone who threatens American borders. We will hunt threats wherever they hide, using every tool necessary to protect our people. Political and military leaders agreed on one thing: the rules have changed. The fight is no longer limited by borders or old assumptions. It is driven by resolve and capability. This moment rewrote the playbook, but the real question is now yours. Do you believe only decisive, overwhelming strikes can finally end cartel terror? Or are there other ways? Share your thoughts in the comments. Did this operation change how you see national security? And if this mission shook you, imagine what comes next. Don't forget to subscribe to follow more powerful breakdowns of operations that are reshaping the future.